I might be a sexy boy, but I'm not your boy toy. These, however, are my toys, boy. And, okay. That doesn't work. It gets worse every time I try it. Look, I didn't want to rush out a Labo video. I know it's been out for a little while now, and that's kind of the point. These kits, they take a while to build, especially for an adult that has a lot of work to do and a lot of other games to play. I have spent a majority of the last week in my spare time building the Variety Kit Labo set. Labo, I believe it's Labo. Cut me some slack. I'm Australian. It's Sega! So in this video, I want to talk about my experiences building these things. I want to review the Variety Kit and talk about whether or not I think it was worth my time, whether or not I think you should go out, buy it, and try it out. I want to talk about this kit as someone who is actually the target demographic for the kit, someone who actually really enjoys build-it kits, building things, making puzzles, or just unwinding while watching some TV while making something. I want to start with the thing that's been bothering me the most since these kits were released, and this doesn't go for everyone, but a lot of people online have been complaining that they take too long to build. It takes too long to set these things up, and that they get bored building them and they just want to play with them. They just want to play the game and they want that instant gratification of, I built this thing, now I'm fishing with it. Even when I was live streaming building the piano, which has about a 3 to 4 hour build time, I had people in the chat that were parents saying, I'm supposed to buy this for my kid and expect them to sit down for 4 hours and build this thing. How is my kid gonna do this? What was Nintendo thinking, making something that takes 4 hours to build one thing in the kit? And to that, I think it's just a different mentality between certain people. It's a different way of thinking. For me, if I was a parent and I bought an $80 build-it kit and I gave it to my kid and he went into his room for an hour and a half, came out and said, look mom, I've built everything, what you gonna buy me next? What do I play with now? I would be very disappointed as a consumer. And on the flip side, me as a kid, I loved building things. Legos, Connects, you name it. I had these tracks that I would build for my cars and my marbles to go around my entire bedroom, these elaborate setups. I had this kit, I can't remember what it was called, but it was all made out of metal and nuts and bolts and pieces that when you put together, they built motorbikes and they would take hours to build. I even loved puzzles as a kid, sitting down with my nan and making a 1,000-piece puzzle. The fact that it took hours is what made it good and what made it worth my time. A build-it kit that takes as long to build as opening the box doesn't make a whole lot of sense and shouldn't be worth your money. It shouldn't be worth buying $80. It's like going to buy a puzzle and buying those 20-piece puzzles that cost $5 at the dollar store. There's no point. Why would you? These things are supposed to take a long time. But in reality, and I'll say this a few times, it's a build-it kit, not a video game. And it's easy to get that confused. It's easy to see Nintendo for the Switch and just go into that video game mindset of you're going to be playing a Nintendo video game. The end result, the fact that you get to actually use these things in a video interactive way is really awesome, and it's really cool to play with something that you've built, to play with a fishing rod that you've built yourself. But in reality, these games aren't that spectacular, and they're not designed to be. They're not supposed to be the next big Pokemon game that you just happen to build something first. The impressive part of these kits, the part that you're supposed to focus on, are the actual products themselves, are the toys. And these things are brilliant. When you're putting them together, it boggles my mind. I can't imagine engineering these things. I can't imagine what would go into actually having the creative mind to be able to build a bunch of flat pack cardboard that you can then twist, bend, and combine into these intricate pieces like a piano or a fishing rod. Every time I build anything in this set, other than the robot car, which is really simple but fun to play with, arguably the most fun to play with once it's done, when I was building anything in this kit, I was thinking to myself while I'm building it, how is this gonna work? Once I'm done, how is this gonna actually physically work as a product with a video game? And while you're building it, you start to realize how these parts come together. You're building all these mechanisms that make sounds, like when you're reeling in the fishing rod, you build all of that out of cardboard, nothing other than cardboard, and yet all these parts are moving around and even clicking, like sounding like an actual fishing rod. And another thing I really appreciated is everything I built felt different. From the piano to the fishing rod to the house to the motorbike, everything in the kit was built in a very different way. I mean, obviously you're there folding things and you're putting them together, but everyone was such a different design with different little bits and moving parts to it that you built everyone a different way, and no one thing felt the same as building another thing, which kept it fresh as I was building, which was something else I was like, how am I having such different building experiences in the same kit? And I want to talk about some of the end games, once you build the things, what it is you actually do with them. But before I get to that really quick, I want to say, yes, I'm very excited about this product. Yes, I love this product. I think it's an awesome product. And I think once you actually remove that mindset of video game and more towards a build it creative set, something like a puzzle that happens to have an interactive aspect to it once it's done. Beyond that though, I'm more excited and I'm more in love with the concept and what it is and what it would be for me when I was a kid. If I wasn't a video game reviewer, if I didn't have this channel, I probably wouldn't have rushed out on launch day to make sure I had one of these things so that I could build it and see what it's all about and stay up to date and deliver the news to you guys. Before I got it, I was sort of umming and ahhing about if I was gonna bother with it at all because I wasn't sure. I love build-it kits, but I'm not a kid anymore. I have so many video games to play and work to do. I didn't know if it was gonna be worth me actually sitting down and building it, but I'm so glad that I did because I do appreciate it and I imagine myself as a kid. So for me, it's a very exciting product, but for I would say maybe even a normal adult, I don't recommend anyone over the age of 18, 20, something like that, going out and buying it for themselves, unless you just really love building things. Again, I enjoyed my time, sat in front of my TV, watching some Alex Inc. I found a new TV show I actually really like, and I sat there building things while watching this new show, and it was such a relaxing, peaceful time, but then I enjoy building things. If you have a kid who's interested in stuff like this, I could see it being one of the best experiences you could have with your son or daughter, just building these things together and messing around and having fun on a weekend. And the cardboard quality is amazing. I know it's kind of a joke and a meme that, oh, you're buying a bunch of cardboard, you're buying a cardboard box to open it up and find more cardboard, but the actual cardboard is really quality. I didn't rip anything, nothing broke. I wasn't that careful with it. I was pushing it out of the cardboard inserts and building with it and bending it as much as I could. And at no point did I have any issue. Even when you're tying rubber bands from one part to another part, these really small parts, they stay intact. I'm not sure, I don't know how cardboard works, if there's different qualities, if you can opt for a certain quality of cardboard, but they definitely went for the best kind. The thing I like the most about once you set these things up and you're done and you start playing with them is you start to find new and cool things the Switch can do. Every time I built anything, there was something that just blew me away and floored me with, how is the Switch capable of doing these things? And I had no idea. Hey, it's working! It's seriously kind of magic. I just put in cardboard and it's like... If I was a kid, I would be legit losing my mind. I don't understand how that works. What? The Joy-Con's vibrating at different frequencies. I could play a song with the Joy-Con. I mean, it doesn't sound good, but it's still cool. The piano was the first one I made, and the thing that really blew me away was all you have to do is put the Joy-Con in here, the right Joy-Con that has the infrared sensor at the bottom or whatever sensor it is, and literally all of this, every single part, every moving part of the piano is read by the bottom of that Joy-Con. It picks up everything. It can pick up multiple keys being pressed at the same time. Once you insert these things that you make, it'll tell, judged by what stickers are on it, as to what number it is and what function it does. You can actually turn the volume up or down, and it's really responsive. Everything works way more responsive than you think it would. With the house, once you insert this, it brings up a tap, and you can slightly turn it, and just that much turning with that sticker, it will tell the Joy-Con that you're moving it, and it will start pouring. And as soon as you let go, it stops. It is instantaneous and really cool. The fishing rod's super responsive. When you're holding it up, you can sway it side to side, and you can actually see your line in the video game starting to sway. And the way the string falls behind the tablet, it actually stays pretty in line with the physical real string and the digital string. It almost meets up at all times no matter how you move it. The toy car moves by you vibrating the left or right Joy-Con and using the vibration motion to actually propel itself around, being able to turn tight corners, but it also uses that same sensor at the bottom of the Joy-Con as a camera, which I didn't know it could do. And there were so many moments like that. The motorbike minigame is actually pretty cool. I think it uses the Mario Kart engine because it looks pretty much the same. It has that same Mario Kart 8 polish to it. There's 3 different speeds you can go, there's 3 different levels of easy, medium, and hard to the tracks, and there's a bunch of different tracks too. The scenery doesn't change that much, but you can do a balloon popping mode where it's this huge area with a bunch of different obstacles you can ride around. It was way more of an in-depth motorbike game than I thought it was gonna be. No complaints with how it handled. It handled exactly as you would want it to. It's fun catching the fish, going all the way to the bottom of the ocean and trying to hook a shark and bring it up. Also very challenging. It's not easy to catch the bigger fish, especially at the bottom of the ocean. You really have to get good at fishing and actually know how to fish. I'm not the best fisher in the world. I know a little bit about fishing, and I gotta say they put a lot of work in actually making it feel like you're realistically fishing. The house is really creative. You have the 3 different dongles that you build yourself, and depending on what combination of dongles you put in, it will bring up completely different mini games or things you can do or ways you can interact with the little character and the entire house. In fact, it wasn't until I started recording the footage for this video that I realized there was a spot at the bottom of the house, and once I started putting things into that spot as well, and I had 3 things to work from, I discovered a ton more mini games and things you could do with the house that I didn't know before. And I sat there playing with it for another 20 minutes, trying to see what all the different combinations do and then trying to get good at the mini games. And once you're done and you've built everything, it's pretty cool to put it next to the box it started in and seeing all these big toys that you have built yourself next to the box and imagine them trying to fit back in. I don't want to ruin any more of these little moments and surprises because it was probably the best thing about this entire kit was discovering all these little secrets and Easter eggs that the Switch could do. You couldn't ask for better instructions. This isn't like building IKEA furniture where you have a weird manual with no words and you have no idea what goes where, and even when you know for sure what you're supposed to do, it's a pain and a hassle trying to wedge things in certain places or actually get it to meet up right. The instructions are so clear, so easy to follow, and everything you do, even the most intricate little bends and folds and flaps and little things that you have to do, they just fit together so easily. There's no error, there's no mistake. It really is a nice, easy, relaxing, quality build-it kit that is a lot of fun, and unlike things like puzzles and stuff like that, it has replayability. Once you're actually done building this build-it kit, you can keep playing with it and interacting with it on a video game level. If you flat out don't like building things, then I highly recommend not getting this because you're not gonna have fun with it. It's not a video game. It's not like, oh, once I've built it, at least I can play with it. You definitely have to enjoy the building aspect. Don't get it confused with a video game. It's essentially a glorified puzzle that's a lot more fun. But what do you guys think? Let us know down below if you're enjoying it or if you regret your purchase. Did you buy it for your kid? Maybe they didn't like it. Let us know. Also, if you love it and you think it's the best thing since sliced bread, let us know that down below. And finally, if you don't have it, do you plan on picking it up? And did my video help with any of your questions, comments, or concerns? I'd love to know all of that in the comments. Remember to like this video, be subscribed because it makes us best friends. I want to thank all the Patreons for being awesome and lovely, wonderful people and supporting this show and helping it grow and be as amazing as it possibly can be. I can never say thank you enough. And at this point, I think there's only one thing left that we have to build, and that's a brick house. That was funnier on Scrubs.